to another episode number 146 of the so-called sports analyst. Josh, how are you doing?
Hey, we're about to get into some basketball today. You know, our first basketball podcast. First, we got to make these predictions real quick for the NFL. Really quick. Fantasy football really doesn't matter no more. If you're in or you're not. You
You
know
know
who
who
to
to
start.
start.
You know who to don't. Who not to. So we're gonna run through those pretty quick. But you know what we're gonna talk about? We're going to talk about the San Antonio Spurs today. We're going to talk about SGA and the Thunder and their run. We're going to talk about and how the
Rockets,
Spurs beat
Pistons.
them. Rockets, the Pistons being dominant over the rest of the Eastern Conference. The Cleveland Cavaliers fall off. Should the Clippers blow it up? And is this draft class in comparison to 1996? We're going to talk about it. And I'm pretty hyped about it because this draft class right now, genuinely dogs from top to bottom, and dude, it's pretty
Yeah.
good. Honestly, best year of my life watching basketball this season, and I will stand by that. Like I so far this year, the start of the season, it has everything written for like everything's just written.
Ooh.
So and I just feel like, dude, this basketball season just feels a little bit different. Yeah, I probably because the Spurs are winning, but I've seen my team win championships before, and this is just feels a little different right now.
Yeah, that's what it is. Well, also just a little bit older too. Like you're finally at it. Not saying what 2014. That was the last time the Spurs won. How old are you? You were like 12. You're like 12 or 13, something along those lines. So no, but okay, we've been hinting at it the entire time as far as like basketball. I think the past like 5 episodes we've been talking straight hoops at the beginning. But okay, but before we go in and start basketball, because I have a feeling we're gonna do that. Like you're saying, we're gonna get through predictions real quick. But before we start, find us on Twitch, Discord, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube under TSESA or the so-called Sports Analyst. Whether you listen to this live or another day, we appreciate it. And make sure you share this to anybody that likes sports. But let's go and get straight into it. Like you're saying, the predictions. I am now officially up the first time of the year, 8-7, and we both tied as far as I had Chicago winning, and you had the Saints winning, and then it went to our over under. You picked 41, I picked 42, and you know what the point total was? 43 points. That's how close our predictions are getting. Like it's just back and forth at the entire time. But we're gonna go ahead and start with this first Thursday night football game, the very good one. The LA Rams versus the Seattle Seahawks, both with the same record. Seattle's favored by 1.5 at home. Over under is 42.5, and this is practically for the division and the 1 seed right here. So who is winning this one?
Yeah, you know what, dude? I think I'm gonna go with Seattle with this one. I think Seattle's gonna walk away with this win. It's gonna be one of those ugly matchups, but I do think it's for some reason I don't think it's gonna be a defensive matchup. I think a lot of people are worried about like fantasy football wise, Matthew Stafford doing bad, Damian, but I don't know. I feel like both teams are about to be slinging this thing down the field. Matthew Stafford versus the GOAT Darnold and JSN, future Super Bowl MVP. So yeah, give me the Seattle Seahawks in this one.
See, okay, I said before the first game, I thought the Rams and Seahawks are gonna split, but I'm taking the Rams here. I think it's mostly for the part Seattle's offense has been struggling. Like nobody's been talking about it the past 2 or 3 weeks or so. And the Rams, they have a better defense than majority of these teams right here. So I think there's gonna be
But
points.
do they have a better defense than the Seattle Seahawks?
No, they do not. But the Rams have a way better offense than the Seattle Seahawks as of right now. And Puka, at first, it was Puka at the beginning of the year. Midseason
Yeah,
was
my
JSN.
my
And
goat said
now,
he's not gonna get married no more.
wait, he said that? Oh, man, Puka's just heartbroken, bro.
Yeah.
Poor Puka. He'll be fine, but yeah, no, I got the Rams right here. But all right, let's move to these Saturday games. First Saturday games of the year. It's the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Washington Commanders. This is in Washington, but Philly's favored by 6.5. Over under is 44.5. Who are you taking?
Yeah, give me Philly in this one. Even though they've been struggling, I just feel like Washington sucks, and there's been and Jaden
Yeah.
Daniels is shut down for the season. So, yeah, we'll go with some Philly in this one.
Yeah, give me Philly to win this one. And they finally break the NFC East streak since 2004. Nobody has been a back-to-back winner I think it's finally going to happen. Philly's going to win it. Just eliminate the Cowboys from the playoffs at this point forward. But all right, the Saturday night football game, it's a rematch of 2 weeks ago. Green Bay Packers versus Chicago Bears. In Chicago, they're favored by 1.5. Over under is 46.5. And obviously, no Micah Parsons in this one. So who you taking?
Yeah, give me Chicago in this one. I do feel like this is going to be one of those matchups where they're going back and forth scoring wise. I just feel like Jordan Love's going to have this type of day, but I do think Chicago's going to come up with one more stop than the Green Bay Packers in this one, and they're going to ultimately win the football game.
Yeah, I just think in the first matchup, Chicago had such a bad start, and I don't think that's going to happen again. They showed in that second half they were clearly the better team, and obviously there's no Micah Parsons in this game, and that's a really big deal. It makes it a lot easier for Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams throughout the game. So yeah, give me Chicago to win. But all right, as far as the Sunday slate of games, Buffalo Bills versus Cleveland Browns. Buffalo's favored by 10.5 in Cleveland. Over unders 41.5.
Give me the Buffalo Bills in this one. I just feel
You
like
thought about it.
yeah, I did, but I just think I'm gonna take Josh Allen in this one. I feel like he's about to make a run for that 1 seed real quick.
Yeah. Give me Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills, but I am playing you in fantasy. So Myles Garrett, I'm depending on you to lock in. I'm depending on you to lock in. This is a high quarterback scoring league. So lock in, please. The Bills, y'all can win. That's fine. But hold them to a calm 17 points, something like that. They just squeak away with the win. So that's all I'm hoping for right here. But yeah, Bills winning. Next one, we have Chargers versus Cowboys. This is in Dallas, and they're favored by 2.5. Over under is 49.5, which is the highest of the week. Who are you taking?
Honestly, I'm gonna go with the Dallas Cowboys in this one. I think they're gonna push the ball down the field. It's a must win. I mean, every game for them is literally a must win. They have to win. If not, they're completely out of the playoffs. So I do think this is a desperate move for them, and I'm gonna go with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I think if we beat the Vikings last week, then I could have possibly seen an upset brewing. But I just think the Cowboys offense, they've been, I know we scored 30 points in back-to-back weeks, over 30, but it hasn't been that normal 30 points that happens, a high, flashy, high powering. I think you're going to see this from the Cowboys right here. So, yeah, give me the Cowboys as well in this one. But, all right, now as far as Josh's team, Kansas City Chiefs versus Tennessee Titans. No Patrick Mahomes, but they are still favored by 3 in Tennessee. Over under 37.5. You're going with the Chiefs.
No, I am not. I'm going with the Tennessee Titans because I need us to lose every game for the rest of the season. Give me the Tennessee Titans.
I can't believe it, Josh. This is the first time in pod history.
Hey, Field Yates picked Jeremiah Love to go to us, and I'm gonna stick by that move. We're gonna keep pushing for that. We're gonna keep pushing for Jeremiah Love. Who's gonna be the biggest hater on my team? It's gonna be me. It's gonna be me. Damn it! I'm not picking the Chiefs the rest of the season at all.
Wow,
it may cost me. It may cost me the win, but it's gonna mean so much more in the long run.
with Jeremiah Love. Hey, this is the first time in pod history you've ever gone against the Chiefs. So wow, I have to go with the Chiefs right here. So Gardner Minshew, he'll do enough to get something done. I know Rashee Rice on concussion protocol, but hopefully doesn't a playing for as far as the pick'em sake in this one. But next one, Bengals and Dolphins. Cincinnati's favored by 4.5. Over under is 47.5. Who you taking?
Yeah, give me Quinn Ewers in the first start. Yeah, trying Quinn to go toe to toe with Joe Burrow. Probably not going to do that. So give me Cincinnati.
Yeah, no, Cincinnati. They're
actually I can't do it. Give me Kansas City. I can't go against. Just give me Kansas City.
I reverse boo, it. Boo! Yep. You gotta stand on it, Josh. You gotta stand on it, Josh.
We're so bad, but they're even worse. I can't do it. But I want them to win. I want Tennessee to win. I want Tennessee to win.
It won't happen, bro. It won't happen. Sadly, I'm just letting you know. But yeah, no. Bengals are winning this one.
Why can't we just be great at losing? Why can't we just be great at losing?
Why can't you be just the Saints, bro?
Why can't we be the Saints? The Saints aren't even great at losing right now.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of the Saints right here, they're going up against the New York Jets. And the Saints are favored by 4.5. Over under is 40.5. So are the Saints going to be on a 3-game win streak?
You know what? The mother shucker is going to start
We're
for
mother
my
shuckers,
fantasy
bro.
team in Dynasty over Baker Mayfield heading to get me to the championship. You know why? Because he's playing this mediocre
We
defense
can't name
that
3
Brecken was
defenders.
gassing up against. Was gassing up for the Jaguars. Well, look what Mother Shucker is going to do to them in this game. So give me the New Orleans Saints.
yeah, yeah. The mother shucking Saints are gonna win this ball game right here. And at this point, I think Shuck's gonna throw for 7 touchdowns in this one. I think so.
He's
You
going to
know what,
one up
Josh?
T-Law. He's going to one
You know
up
what we need
T-Law.
to do? Whatever Shuck does, we need to gas it up. So whenever we talk about it next week, Brecken's really gonna be rage baited in that one. But yeah, give me the Saints in this one. Next game we have right here, Minnesota Vikings versus New York Giants, and they're favored by 3, even though it's in New York. Over under is 43.5. Who you taking? You gonna do it?
I'm gonna go with New York in this one. I feel Jackson Dart's playing, right? Jackson Dart's
Yes,
playing.
Jackson Dart
okay,
is
yeah.
playing.
So we're going with New York.
Ooh, you know what? This I saw 9 last week. I saw him last week, albeit against the Cowboys defense. But he was making some good throws, and I can say this confidently. We might not have a better defensive line than the Giants. Yes, I'm not
Yeah,
arguing
y'all
that.
don't.
But as far as secondary, and our secondary got cooked, we have a better secondary and back 7 compared to the Giants. So I think 9's going to look good once again. And Brecken, he'll have another week of defending 9. But, all right, this last 12 o'clock game right here, which has a lot of stakes for the NFC South, Buccaneers and Panthers, both 7-7. This is for the division right here. First one's in Carolina, and Tampa Bay's favored by 3. Over-under's 45.5. Will the Bake Show finally step out of it?
I don't know, bro.
This is tough. Both teams
I don't
embarrassing
know.
losses to their rivals too. It's rough.
Just give me the bake show.
Yeah.
Just give me the bake show.
In
The
Bake
show must
we
go on.
trust.
The show
Yes.
must go on.
We haven't said the name Bake Show in a while. I think that's been the problem for them. We haven't been gassing them up. That's
Yep.
been the problem. And
Yep.
just follow the Bake Show. But all right, start of the 3 o'clock games right here. This first one, Atlanta Falcons
battle. Oh, not yet. Okay, okay.
yeah, I'll get to that in a second. Cardinals versus Falcons. Atlanta's favored by 3 in Arizona. Over-under's 48.5. Who you taking?
Brissett, rise up, baby. Rise up. This is
No
what
bias
I traded
involved.
for you in Dynasty for. This is what I traded for you in Dynasty for times like this. For when Mahomes or Allen was going to go down, I said insurance policy. I sent Theo Johnson, a young, promising tight
Isaiah
end,
Bond.
to the boy Fonzo and
He did.
Isaiah Bond. In return, I received old Mark Andrews and old Jacoby Brissett. But for one thing only. For one thing, I knew he's not going to be on this Dynasty team next season. But I needed him this season. I need Jacoby Brissett this season. You haven't finished below QB 12 one time since you took over. And it's not happening against Atlanta. That's for sure. We saw Baker go off last week, even though they lost. I need the same, Jacoby. I need the same. I need you to get the ball to the outside to the Stanford man himself. I need you to get the ball to the one with 2 dads. I need you to get the ball to
Forgot about
Marvin Harrison Jr. I need you to work your Jacoby Brissett magic versus the Atlanta Falcons and drop 35 on their bean top. All right? Let's go, Jacoby Brissett. Rise up. Give me Arizona.
You know what? That is a great speech right there, but all for it just to be Arizona losing to Atlanta right here, in all honesty. But okay,
As
far
long as he puts 35 and loses, I'll be completely happy. I don't care.
Hey, honestly, yeah, you're right. But as far as a little bit behind the scenes, I think we just got done recording a predictions episode. Then Josh and I we were talking about it, and Josh is like, you know what? I need Jacoby Brissett from your team. He's like, just in case, I don't think I'll need him. Mahomes or Josh Allen goes down. So like just a random trade, and like nobody like blinked an eye for it. Honestly, Josh, that was your most important trade of
Out
the
of
dynasty
all the
season.
trades that
Yeah.
I made,
And for the people listening to this, Josh, I'm not even exaggerating, has made close to 20 trades within the season. Like from the draft to now. He's made 20 trades and like big time trades. JSN, Saquon, Josh Allen, Jacoby Brissett is his biggest acquisition because he's in the
I traded
playoffs
for
right now.
Mahomes,
Yeah. Oh, you did trade for
Josh
Mahomes.
Allen. Oh, no, basically all my team I traded for.
JSN, Saquon, Derrick
Romo
Henry.
Dunze was traded for. Brian
Rome
Thomas was
was
traded for.
that is
Jalen
true.
Coker was traded for. All my starters
Jaden
were traded
Higgins.
for. I don't have a
Jaden
single
Higgins.
starter. Yeah, Jaden Higgins was traded for. Everybody that's starting for me was traded for.
No, yeah, for real. This is the most important one right here. So I'm telling you, Josh, whenever we win the championship, we, I'm part of this right here. Don't worry. Don't worry. No, but yeah.
Who knew?
Give me the
Jacoby
Falcons to
Brissett
win
was
this
gonna lead
one.
me. Was gonna lead me through the playoffs. Who knew? Who knew?
Genuinely funny. But all right, as far as
This is the
a
type of
good
run they
matchup,
write stories about. This is the type of run they write stories about.
honestly, we're gonna have to backtrack to this one next week. We're gonna see how well this one. We just have to talk about the Cardinals and Falcons just based on your dynasty roster. But as far as this, which I know Josh was alluding
Versus
to, he's
breaking
gonna say the overrated teams right here. Jaguars versus Broncos, a really good matchup. 10-4, 12-2. Broncos are 7-0 at home, and they're favored by 3. Over under is 46.5. So who are you taking in this matchup?
In the battle of the frauds, battle of the fraudulent teams, battle of the overrated teams, battle of lucky wins. I'm going to take the Denver Broncos at home versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. And yeah, I really have no other explanation besides both these teams are really bad, and I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos.
like I mentioned on the Monday pod, the Broncos they are a legit team, and the Jaguars they're not as legit as the Broncos, but they are a legit team.
I don't
It's
know.
just-
I have a 3-minute clip that says otherwise.
You know what? I could name 3 Jets players. You didn't ask me that question for a certain reason. But yeah, no. Broncos are winning this one. It's gonna be a tough matchup. It's gonna be a fun one, but yeah, no. Broncos barely win this one. As far as this next one, Steelers versus Lions, in which Detroit's favored by 7 in this one. This is the highest one, 51.5. Expecting some points on the board. Who is winning this ball game? You gonna do it?
No, I hate DK. I'm going to go with Detroit Lions.
It's just DK Metcalf. And okay, I'm taking the Lions too, but I just want to say, fantasy football wise, I don't know if you follow Jahmyr Gibbs' trend. For the past 8 weeks, it's been 3 touchdowns, none, 3, none, 3, none. It's been like that for a while. Last week, he had 0 touchdowns.
Well, he's going to have 0 again this week because I cannot take it.
I'm sorry. He's gonna have 3 touchdowns. The trend is gonna happen, Josh. I'm sorry to break it to you, but as far as this last 3 o'clock game, which I don't even feel like we should be talking about this, Houston Texans versus the Las Vegas Raiders, favored by 14.5, over under 37.5. How much are the Texans winning by?
Yeah, give me Houston. They're winning by a cool 14 points.
I think they're winning by like 24. Honestly.
I think it's 14 points.
You're just going to go with the spread. You're going to go with the spread right there.
I didn't even look at the spread. I just feel like the Texans, for some reason, aren't going to score in this game. Like, I just feel like
if the Texans can't score against the Raiders, bro, oh, man, there's genuine concerns for them. And offense is the only problem. Well, let's get to the Sunday Night Football game, which I'm genuinely surprised at this line. New England Patriots coming off a loss versus the Ravens, who are fighting for their playoff hopes. This is in Baltimore. Baltimore is favored by 3. Over-under is 48.5. Who are you taking?
Yeah, give me New England.
Yeah.
Their Ravens are chopped.
Yeah, no, I don't know how the Ravens happen to be favored and their offense is so bad. And the Patriots are coming off of a loss. And this is primetime stage. This is gonna be a Drake May game right here where he's gonna pop off. But all right, last game. Niners versus Colts. Monday Night Football. Philip Rivers' second start. This is in Indy, but the Niners are favored by 6. Over-under is 46.5. Are you going with the old man Philip here?
No, I am not. I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, no, give me the Niners in this one. And all right, just to make sure I have the predictions right. You have Seattle. I have the Rams. You have the Giants. I have the Vikings. And then you have Jacoby Brissett. And I have the Falcons. All right, so that's a perfect 3. So we don't have to worry about no tiebreakers, no nothing. So as far as for the NFL fans that are probably going to get off after this, I hope you guys tune in to the NBA because it's going to be really interesting. But we appreciate you guys listening up to this part. And Josh, it's officially time, Josh. It's officially, you know what? Clap it up. Clap it up. Clap it up. It's time. We've delayed this for so long, and not purposely. It's just happened. And just a little bit behind the scenes, there was one time before Josh and I did a predictions pod. It was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. We were talking before just NBA like for a good hour or so. And we're like, why didn't we just record this? Like we could have just recorded this a long time ago. But officially, we're just gonna start it off. And I just want to start it off as far as with let me just go with the top 3 seeds or top 5 seeds in each conference, and we'll just like go from there. Eastern Conference, Pistons 21-5, Knicks 18-7, Raptors 16-11, Celtics 15-11, Magic 15-11. As far as a dominant Western Conference right here, Thunder 24-2, Nuggets 19-6, Lakers 18-7, Spurs 18-7, and the Rockets 16-7 in this one. So, you know what? Let's go ahead and get this big domino out the way. How do you feel about the Spurs' start to the season this year?
Hold on, I'm trying to I don't know, dude. It's because my thing updated to Yahoo instead of Google, and it's giving me the divisions. We don't go by divisions in the NBA.
No,
we don't do divisions in the NBA.
This isn't football, bro.
This isn't football, bro. All right, there we go. No, but how do I feel about these San Antonio Spurs? Well, 9-3 without Wemby is really nice. Wemby coming in and dominating the Oklahoma City Thunder in 20 minutes of gameplay sounds really nice. The best 3-guard trio in the NBA seems really nice. 3 candidates for defensive for 6th man of the year feels pretty nice. Luke Cornett, Keldon Johnson, and he might not win Rookie of the Year because of the minutes he's playing, but he might damn well win 6th man of the year, and that's Dylan Harper. Mitch Johnson looking like the coach of the year right now. No one thought the Spurs were going to be this good. They thought they were going to be around the 8th spot, around the 7th spot, maybe the 6th. But he has them in 4th. He has them 18-7, and that's not even the crazy part. All the teams around them, Minnesota, Houston, Los Angeles, Denver, OKC. Every single one of those teams have all taken L's, and every single one of those teams have taken an L to the San Antonio Spurs. Hey, I've heard many people say that this Spurs team, they had a rough one versus the New York Knicks in the NBA Cup. They just went cold in that 4th quarter, really couldn't put down a shot. It was just, Knicks had a good day. Tyler Kolek, shout out the GOAT, but as far as these teams, everyone's saying in the future, when are the Spurs going to be good? When are the Spurs going to make that contender jump? When are the Spurs going to be a real threat in the West? Maybe 1 or 2 years down the line. Well, damn it, it's not 1 or 2 years down the line. It's right now. The Spurs right now are a contender. And you want to be completely honest, there's one team that has a real shot versus the Oklahoma City Thunder because they match up with them the best, and they have the best player in the world, and they have the 3 best guard trio in the entire NBA, and they have a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense, number 1 defense all time when one man is playing on the court. and that's Victor Wembanyama, and the San Antonio Spurs are the only hope to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, to keep the Oklahoma City Thunder from making their second straight NBA Finals. Because we saw it in this last game. We saw it when they played the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Spurs were down 16 points
Yeah.
at one point in that game. But you know when the best player, everyone, like what does Fonzo say? Everyone looks like a Rolls Royce till a Rolls Royce pulls up. Well, Shea looked like a Rolls Royce, but when the Rolls Royce pulled up in 20 minutes of gameplay, 7 minutes of gameplay, he was already plus 23 in 7 minutes, 2 for 3, 4 rebounds, 1 block. They came back, went on a 14-0 run twice in this game when he came onto the court. The most impactful player in all of basketball. What did he say? He said, Jokic is the best offensive player in the world. Giannis and Shea are the best players in the world. But when I step on the court, I'm the best player in the world. That's
Greatest
Victor
press run in a
Wembanyama.
day.
And what did he say about this rivalry they want to cook up with that Chet Holmgren who can't even hold his purse, dog, who can't even hold what Victor Wembanyama has? He says, it's easy to score when you got the MVP on the court. It's easy to score when you got the MVP on the court. Brush him off, bro. We ain't even on the same stratosphere. We ain't even on the same planet. I ain't worried about you. The San Antonio Spurs are for real. They're playing with confidence. Their coaching is confident. This team looks like the guys that have stayed, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, they look like they are hungrier than ever. Harrison Barnes? You want to talk about some Harrison Barnes this year?
Harrison Barnes has been hooping.
There's been games this year where Harrison Barnes has scored 30 plus and took us to dubs. He's been the most De'Aaron Fox averaging 26 when Wemby was off the court, when Wemby was hurt, when Dylan Harper was hurt, when Stephon Castle was hurt. This team has all the answers and all the they have, and their 3-point shooting. Don't even get started on 3-point shooting. They're top 10 in the NBA behind Julian Champagnie and Harrison Barnes and Devin Vassell. And Devin Vassell, talk about a man playing his role. Talk about a man playing his role. Devin Vassell is making tough bucket after tough bucket and knocking down big shots after big shot. I could go on for a whole nother hour, but we have other teams to talk about.
Well,
so the San Antonio Spurs are here. They're here, and they're here to stay. Because you know why? You know why? Reigning Rookie of the Year. Number 2 overall draft pick. Best player in the world, all underneath 22 years old in this story.
Okay. So, I'll say this. As far as from somebody who's not a Spurs fan here, I think everybody was consistently expecting Wemby to make a jump, and you saw how great he looked whenever he was playing on the court. Defensively, we've already known since the draft he was going to be the best defensive player. Offensively, he took it to another level, and now he's a 3-level scorer at this point. And really, the only person that can stop Wemby offensively is himself. It really is just how aggressive he. Yeah, or the Phoenix Suns. Yeah, and they're gonna be doubling him and making him or forcing him to make the right pass. And I think he's slowly starting to figure his way out of that. And I just think the Spurs, they are contenders as of this year. I'll say that, but I'll also say this: we need to see not Wemby in a playoff series. We need to see Stephon Castle. We need to see Dylan Harper. We need to see all these other guys who, yes, they are veterans, but besides De'Aaron Fox, besides Harrison Barnes, nobody really has had meaningful playoff minutes in a 7-game series, and especially against a loaded Western Conference, where the first matchup right now would be the Rockets. That'd be a 50-50 in my opinion right there, as far as they're a seasoned team who's been in the playoffs. So as of right now, I feel like the Spurs are going to be that team where we know they're going to be dominant in the regular season. We just need to see how the others are going to be in a playoff series, in a 7-game series. That's going to be the biggest thing, in my opinion. But as far as Wemby, if Wemby just stays healthy, within these next, from right now to the next 5 years, the Spurs have, besides the Thunder, the best championship window out of anybody in the NBA. You could line it up with the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Rockets, the Pistons, anybody. They have the second best window of anybody throughout the NBA. And it's looking
And,
very scary.
and I feel like this is a rivalry renewed. This is a
It
rivalry, like a
is.
true. They don't like each other. Like the
Yeah.
Spurs and the Thunder do not like each
Yeah,
other.
they truly
There's
don't.
real, there's real beef between
Chet
Wimby
and
and
Wimby,
Chet.
yeah.
Like Wimby is out to say, like, why is this guy even in my comparison? You know, why is he every time Chet Holmgren goes inside, Wimby is like, oh yeah, you're not scoring. I'm blocking everything you're putting up. Like, and he
Yeah.
does. Chet has only scored on catch and shoot threes. And when Chet missed that free throw, Wimby cheered
Yeah,
louder than
Wimby
everybody else in the entire.
Was the biggest hater, bro.
Yeah.
Honestly, I love it though. Like you
And I
love
just feel
to
like
see
the guards
Wimby.
are
Yeah,
wanting to each take a crack at SGA. Like every single
yeah,
one of them want a piece of him. Like so it's kind of like,
hmm
hey,
yeah.
it's
And
here.
like, okay, one last thing I want to talk about the Spurs with is I know we always bring it up off the pod, but it's like their offense never fades because they always have one of the three guards in. And De'Aaron Fox, he's more the scorer as of this point, but Stephon Castle, he's the one that's going to get everybody going in the offense. And Dylan Harper, I feel like he's kind
Two
of in
feet
the
in the
middle.
paint every
Yeah,
time.
he's kind of in the middle between like where maybe he's not the scorer polished like De'Aaron Fox right now or the passer like Stephon Castle, but he's kind of in between where it might not be as polished as those guys, but it's consistent enough where you won't fall off. So it's at the point where Wimby, he doesn't obviously you want him to be the focal point offensively, but he doesn't have to be that focal point offensively. So where he can focus on being the best defensive player in the world, he can do that. And like you're saying, the perimeter guys for the Spurs defensively with those. And honestly, if the Spurs they get Trey Murphy, let's just say they don't have to trade away. It'd have to be Keldon and some picks and something like that.
But the
If
thing
they
is,
could get Trey
I,
Murphy,
the thing is,
that
I
would
was
be
talking. I
contenders.
I would love to have Trey Murphy. My thing is though, I don't think the Spurs are gonna trade Keldon just based off of like love of Keldon. You know, like not that
Yeah,
like based off like we're finally good. We're not gonna trade you when we're good. You know, like
yeah,
I think it's one of those loyalty aspects of like you've been here throughout your entire career.
that
At
makes
least one
sense.
more year. I do think there is one man that's on the way out. It's Jeremy Sohan. I do
Yeah,
think Jeremy Sohan is getting prepared to be put in a trade package somewhere. Like I really do think so. I don't know who exactly for. I don't know how much of his stock is deteriorated because there was at one point some real like upside for Jeremy Sohan, but he's
yeah.
been completely phased out of the team
He's
the last
been,
4 games. He didn't
yeah,
even
he's not
touch
even playing.
touch
Yeah,
court the last 4 games, and yeah. So I think him and a couple draft picks are maybe on the move. I think Jeremy Sohan may be on the move, and I don't know who they would add, but
how would you feel about, okay, I know it sounds like a crazy trade package, but like say 5 first round picks, Jeremy Sohan for Lowry. Because like you're not giving up players, but you're giving up picks. It won't be
the
three, it's gonna
contract
be at
though is
least
just
four.
so bad. The contract for like not bad, but I just feel like I'd
Or
rather go get another perimeter defender. I'd rather trade Jeremy for Herb Jones.
Herb Jones. I love me some Herb Jones, bro. I I just okay, what if it's Luke Cornett and Jeremy Sohan for Lowry and a couple picks?
The thing is with Luke Cornett, I think his defense off the bench offers so much more value than people are realizing. You know, like I think they've been waiting for
Yeah.
this secondary defender where the defense doesn't take too much of a step back. Like, look, he started. Luke Cornett started a bunch of games this season, and we missed a beat defensively. Obviously, you don't replicate Wimby, but he was
Still top
serviceable
10.
against every team. You know,
Yeah.
so it's just one of those things. Like I don't think the Spurs are going to move off, and they just paid him 4 years, 40 mil. That's the 4 years, $44 million right now for
Cheap.
Luke Cornett. Looks like the best deal in the NBA.
Yeah.
So I feel
Honestly,
like
yeah.
I don't think they move off of Luke Cornett.
I mean, it's just I'm glad that the Spurs they stood pat. I know there was the whole Giannis sweepstakes during the beginning of the draft,
Definitely. And even right
and
now, like even right now,
yeah,
but they already said we're not trading Harper or Stephon Castle, so keep it
yeah,
moving. Like
it was a great move by the Spurs because I think Wimby is so good that he jumps the timeline by himself. Like he speeds up everybody's timeline for Dylan Harper, for Stephon Castle. You have to capitalize. And I talked about it with Josh yesterday whenever we were at Ryan's. If Wimby, God forbid, injuries they happen to him, he could sign a contract where it's not the supermax or an all NBA. He could be 3 years into the NBA, they re-up him, and it could be one of the cheapest superstar contracts in NBA history for one of the best on production or on court production players. So I'm just saying this might be the only other guy is maybe Steph Curry. Remember when he had those ankle injuries and he signed
Hmm.
like a $5 for $80 million deal, and that allowed them Draymond, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant. So I'm just saying, I hope that doesn't happen. I hope he finally is able to win his rightful DPOY and make an all NBA team. But I'm just saying that's an interesting thing. But as far as some teams right here, we need to talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder right now
We do.
and the
We do.
crazy start that they're on. 24-2, which yes, they did lose to the Spurs, but they are on pace right now, at least to match the 73-9 Golden State Warriors. So before, as far as we talk about the team right here, just I need to ask you, are they going to break the record?
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're going to lose at least 6 games. 4 of them being to the San Antonio Spurs. But honestly, we're a biased sports podcast. We've said this before,
Very.
But as far as the Oklahoma City Thunder, it's amazing what they're doing. Like I do think they're one of the most complete teams I have ever watched in all my years of watching basketball. They do not miss a beat. They have defenders galore. Hartenstein, when he gets into his spot in the paint to drop that floater in front of the rim, it's money every single time. Chet Holmgren and J Dub. Okay, I had a conversation the other day that blew my mind, but that's a conversation for another day. But those two, they know how to play their roles. Chet knows
Yeah.
what he is defensively and what he has to do. J Dub is that secondary scorer that can get to the rack at all 3 levels and also play 2-way. They have it all, and it's not just the top end guys that they have. I mean, AJ Mitchell has taken such a jump. What's he
A
averaging right now?
great contract.
Like almost 15 points per game.
Yeah.
Isaiah Joe has been banged up, so they're missing a 3-point shooter off the bench. But let's talk about Alex Caruso defensively,
Wallace.
Luke Dort defensively, Kaysen Wallace defensively. Every switch out that they make, there's always a willing and able defender. And I think that's what makes them so great. The San Antonio Spurs and Oklahoma City Thunder game was one of the best defensive matchups we have watched in a long time.
Yeah.
And I know these both scored over 100 points. Back in the day, a good defensive matchup would have been 70 to 80, something like that. But for today's NBA standards, that is amazing basketball. And the fact that the Oklahoma City Thunder can do that night in and night out, and the reason why they beat teams by 30 is because of their defense. Their defense never stops, never stops. They have guys constantly coming off the bench that are willing and have fire underneath them. And as far as SGA, we're gonna have to get to a point where we're gonna talk about best peaks in NBA history. Like it's gonna be comparable to
Uncomfortable conversations.
to an Antonio Brown type peak that SGA is having right now. I know that's a crazy comparison, but that's kind of what I'm thinking of. Like the level of magnitude of peak sport that you reach, SGA is hitting that right now.
That
Like,
makes
there was
sense.
SGA is he's coming off MVP. He's led the league in scoring what 3 times? 3 times? 2 or 3 times already? Has he something like that? But he's at least made All NBA 5 times in this
Yeah.
at
Three
least
times,
5 times in this 8 years. And coming off an NBA championship, I'll lead this team. This is gonna sound crazy, really crazy to say out loud. But this peak would be better than anything that KD has ever done. Would be better than anything Russell Westbrook has ever done. Would be better than anything James Harden has ever done. Anything better than Kawhi Leonard has ever done. Anything better than some of these top guys of all time have ever done. Like not even Melo, not even
Can I
D
say
Wade,
something crazy?
not even any of these guys have ever reached this level.
Can I say something crazy? This is on a level of 90-91 and then the following year 92-93 of Michael Jordan. As crazy as this sounds, like we're seeing this in the forefront. He is not only as good defensively as Michael Jordan, he is scoring just as much and is way more efficient than Michael Jordan
Yeah,
by
yeah.
like a whole 15 field goal percentage. And like people that are going to talk about the teams, but they're very comparable.
And
They're
he plays on
very
selfish
comparable.
basketball. Like he
And
plays on selfish basketball. Like there's
yeah,
a I will say I don't think Kobe ever had a peak like this. I don't think there's a lot of people like it's gonna sound crazy,
yeah,
but I'm not saying career wise. Career wise is different. But we're talking about peak
yeah,
for peaks. Who was the best
peak.
player at this time? I mean, we have Nikola Jokic still in the NBA right now, but we're talking about where team success plus your success. The Oklahoma City Thunder right now, SGA is doing something we haven't seen in quite a long time since maybe LeBron in his MVP years and Michael Jordan. Like this is peak
Yeah,
basketball that you will probably never you'll see again by someone obviously because records are meant to be broken, but as of right
mhm.
now, what SGA is doing, you can only sit back and appreciate basketball. Uh,
I
yeah,
think
so
he's doing something. He's doing something that only four other guys have done in NBA history: Larry Bird, Kareem, Michael Jordan, and LeBron. Whereas
yeah, look
far
at who you
as
just named. Well, and
yeah,
Shaq. I feel like and Shaq.
and
You could put
Shaq, yeah,
Shaq.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so five different people where they've completely dominated a single run. I think he could go. You've at least had all these guys go on a 2 or 3 year
And if he goes
run,
back to back, and if he goes back to back,
back to back MVPs,
okay.
and
So serious conversation. Where's Shea ranked right now? Top 25?
he. Okay, as early as it sounds, I'd rather be early. I'm gonna be early to the party. I'm gonna say, let's just say he retires after this year. Top 20 player.
Top 20? Okay, so for me,
I already put him above Dwayne Wade as
oh,
far as like
easily, easily. Yeah,
easily.
I don't think
And Dwayne
Dwayne Wade
Wade's
never
on that
reached
like
his
20.
basketball.
Dwayne Wade's on that 20 level.
Hmm.
He's on that 20 level. Like, let's be real. If it wasn't for Nikola Jokic doing something or almost doing something only Larry Bird has ever done, like there'd be no
Yeah,
comparison. Honestly, like Nikola Jokic is going to be a top 10 player when it's all said and done. So it kind of overshadows what Shea's doing right now. He's following suit right behind him. And I know Damien's not going to want to hear this. I know you're in this chat right now, and I'm going to look dead in the camera when I say this. If Shea wins a championship this year, as crazy as it sounds, MVP, we're going to have debates on who's better all time. And I'm looking dead in the camera in this. We're going to have debates on who's better all
I
time.
mean it's true. I mean 2 championships, 2 MVPs, and he's gonna have, and they're gonna break the record. What if it might even be close to Steph? Like if you're able to
Yeah.
complete the championship, if you're able to complete the championship and win, break the record also, plus
Mhm.
MVP.
Yeah.
And you don't have to, and next year you're going to about to get another top 5 pick, top 10 pick,
2.
and keep adding on to this.
Yeah.
The Oklahoma City Thunder are in. Thomas Sorbert's not even playing this year.
Nikola
So it's
Topic.
like Nikola Topic. I mean, for me, I don't know. I'm kind of out on the Nikola Topic type
Yeah,
of thing.
after what
But
happened. Yeah.
yeah, after the cancer and stuff like that. But as far as Thomas Sorbert, that was supposed to be a top 10 pick that fell to them. What, number 15 because of
Yeah.
injury? So yeah, I just feel like the Thunder right now, and he has guys that want to play with him.
Yeah.
He has. They're not this core that
J-Dub
they have right
resigned.
now.
Chet resigned. Yeah.
They're all best friends. Like you can literally tell they're
Yeah.
all gonna be in this for the long run together. Like especially the major three, they're together for at least 4 to 5 years.
Yeah. And like, okay, I know you're it sounds crazy saying this right now, but it's just like whenever it's all said and done, say Shea completes a record, wins a championship, when can you say other than Michael Jordan? Other than Michael Jordan,
Whose peak was the best? Like
yeah,
whose
you
peak?
cannot argue anybody else. Like LeBron couldn't say he's done that. He's done that. Kareem, Shaq, Kobe, Tim Duncan. As far as
Whoa,
when
whoa, 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 whoa.
oh, that's
where I
that's where we draw the
line,
that's
buddy.
where we draw the line. As crazy as it sounds, for a 2 year peak, then you could okay, maybe Bron from 2013 to 2015.
I mean, Duncan did win back-to-back MVPs in the early 2000s and in a championship. So
There
I
were
will
back-to-back
say
championships.
back-to-back MVPs.
See, okay, but like again, you could argue two guys, LeBron and MJ. It again, it's crazy. It's crazy. Wimby, yes, eventually. I know you're trying to just butter up Josh right now, Damien. But yeah, no. The Thunder, like you were saying, as far as like this team right now, and honestly, like I don't even think they're really hitting their ceiling yet. Like in all honesty, as crazy as it sounds, like their their starters aren't even having to play all four quarters. They're out by in the third quarter with like 4 minutes left. That's how dominant this team has been. They have a 17-point differential. As that is crazy to say in the modern NBA, you have a 17-point differential with how crazy the 3-point shot is, and there's no such thing as a double-digit lead in the NBA. So let's just go ahead and like go with these next three tiers of teams because I feel like these are the other ones in the Western Conference that really are formidable and can make some noise. Denver Nuggets, LA Lakers, Houston Rockets. If you had to pick a bunch at it or one of those three teams to compete, because honestly, like you convinced me, it's OKC, San Antonio, then it's one of the other three. Who would you pick to be the third best in the Western Conference?
See, as crazy as it sounds, I'm gonna eliminate one team immediately. Like for me, I think I'm immediately gonna eliminate one team. And it's gonna be the Los Angeles Lakers. I just think that more athletic teams, and we've seen it. They've all their losses have came from teams that are
Yeah.
more athletic, can run the court, play great defense, and have a big man inside. They've struggled mightily against those teams, and we saw them they struggled against the San Antonio Spurs because they were unable to play defense against a trio of guards and keep up with them in transition and stop them from getting to the rack every single time. It just wasn't good because the first time they played the Spurs, both Harper and both Fox were injured. And
Hmm.
now they had all of them, and it wasn't even a matchup. From
Yeah.
start, the Spurs just held on to the lead and never gave it up. As great as Luca is, as great as Austin Reeves has been playing
Austin
this
Reed's been
year,
hooping.
and LeBron's taking that little step back to where he's allowed other players to create, but he's still doing his thing. And DeAndre Ayton's been a pleasant surprise. They don't have enough depth to keep up with these other three teams. It's just as simple as that. And especially in a 7-game series, I just don't see it unless Luka goes absolutely nuclear, which is totally doable because he's Luka Doncic. But that's asking a lot of him to do. But if we look at these
Yeah.
other two, the Houston Rockets and the Denver Nuggets, and I think for me, you have the best player, and you have arguably the best player in the world in Nikola Jokic, right there. Plus, you have Jamal Murray. You have Cameron Johnson, who I do think is getting a little bit better as the weeks go on, and they have a couple. They have all their role players that are willing and able to do what they need to do to win. But as far as the Houston Rockets, they're very intriguing to me. I think for the Houston Rockets, when you look at them defensively, they match up well against anybody in the entire NBA. And if but the only thing is that I think lacks for them is a complete ball handler. Where Reed Shepard has gone a lot better. That's who they're really banking on. I just do think for them, having Kevin Durant and having Alperen Sengun and having guys that are able to play really, really great defense and go into a death lineup where they're all above 6'7" and it can all my bad. But they all play great defense.
Yeah.
I
So,
I think I'm gonna have to lean towards the Houston Rockets for me, if I'm being completely honest. And I think it also goes down to depth as well. They have guys that
mhm.
can come in on a string whenever they need to and make plays and play great defense. But the thing is, for me, I just think all these teams are gonna struggle. Like I just don't see a complete world where they are gonna be in a 7-game series and able to keep up with the Oklahoma City Thunder for a complete seven.
So
But if I had to pick between the three, it'd be the Houston Rockets.
okay, so I'm with the same lines as you, and okay, I say the Lakers even before the beginning of the year, they were always a team where I viewed they were a trade away from becoming real contenders, and I think
But
it's going to
I think
be
they're more than a trade away. I for some reason.
you don't. I I think if they get something along the lines of a Trey. I know Trey Murphy. That's a popular name, but Trey Murphy is one of the best. He's like, I'm not saying he's up to the Klay Thompson level, like as far as like a perfect guy that could fit on any team. Trey Murphy you can put him in any team, and he's gonna be just a great role player for them, and that's exactly what they need. But I think like the Lakers, if they get Trey Murphy or two solid pieces where it could help out their depth or make their starting five where it's
Yeah.
so dominant, I think what's better for the Lakers if they
But
want to compete this year, they have to solidify their starting five where there is no holes at all.
But my thing
Wha-
is with their starting five, it's complete ISO basketball. Like there's no real movement along that. There's no real movement amongst the five when they're all on the court together. Like they don't have
Mhm.
a fluid offense. Like I think it's all based
Yeah,
off of one person getting the rock and getting to the rack or doing what they need to do to put the ball in the basket. Like Luca is the leading the league in ISO plays. Austin Reeves is right behind him. He's really
yeah,
close, and then LeBron is the same as well. Like they're all
yeah,
creating for themselves, and they're one of the worst transition offenses in the NFL, in the NBA. Like they literally have no transition offense. Like it's all
and
half court, and that's it. And I think when you're playing teams that are just faster, they're more athletic than you, they're gonna really struggle. And I get what you're saying. If you trade for a guy like Trey Murphy, if you trade for a guy like Herb Jones, if you trade for a guy like I'm going blank on who's available. Lowry
yeah, me too.
Markkinen, or you go on for some. I just think there's so much more. Maybe one or two more pieces that they're away from. I mean, they have like guys like Dalton Connect who just made his G League debut literally today. And
Yeah,
you look at guys like Jake Laravia. When one guy's hurt, he's playing great. But when all three of them are there, he's completely phased out. Like he's completely
yeah.
phased out what they got going on. And I think that's the problem. Like there's not enough people that are touching rock within the offense to be able
Mhm.
for them to keep up at least with the other teams.
And okay, I'll say this. As of right now, yes, it's been the case, but they haven't. This is the first time I think it's been like 2 weeks, or not even 2 weeks, like a week and a half, where they're finally starting to play basketball games together. And okay, I know I hate this because we always talk about it in the NFL, but it's a lot different in the NBA. Naturally, older teams in the playoffs who might not be as athletic, they benefit a lot more in a playoff setting. So I think in the regular season, yes, they will struggle unless it's big time games for seeding or something along those lines. I think in a playoff setting, again, sometimes it just comes down to who's the dudes on the court. If you're telling me you have in a 7 game playoff series, you have Luka Doncic and LeBron James on the same court and they're both healthy, then it's going to be hard to beat them. And I'll say this with the Lakers, they're definitely a lot more physical team compared to whenever Minnesota faced them last
Yeah.
year in the playoffs. They upped their physicality. So they got one thing done. Now it's just as far as athleticism, which could kind of be tampered and fixed come a postseason series. But as far as like you're saying, the real threats is the Denver Nuggets and the Houston Rockets. And the biggest thing with the Rockets, if you're telling me their biggest thing is having a ball handler and you have one of the greatest scorers in NBA history, then I am not worried about your offense. I'm not worried. And Amen Thompson, him getting these minutes as a point guard or being a secondary ball handler is going to do wonders for him years beyond. Like this is going to speed up his process. So it does suck as of right now for the Rockets losing Fred Van Vliet before the year. But
If they
Amen
had Fran
Thompson,
Van Fleet, this would look a lot differently. Like
yeah,
I
I
feel
think
like,
they'd be like really like,
and plus having a reliable 3-point shooter,
yeah.
it would be great. Hey, but there is the point guard sitting out there right now. I feel like you could get a second
I
pick
mean,
for.
that is true, but I think he'd just be a backup. Like
That's what
he
I'm saying. Like you don't, he didn't, he's not going to be score for you, but he'll
he's
get
gonna
you the
set up
ball,
your
bro.
he's gonna set up your offense, yeah. And yeah, I know the Denver Nuggets, they have Nikola Jokic. And okay, I know that when Jokic goes off the bench, they're -7, which is a lot better than last year. They were 18. So they shaved it down by 11 points. But against the Rockets, against the Spurs, against the Thunder, maybe not the Lakers, maybe the Lakers, you're not going to be able to get away with that. You're not going to be able to. And Albert Sengun, I love me some Albert Sengun ball. Like
Yeah.
he has been hooping and taking another level with Kevin Durant there. Like, he's a lot better scorer. Obviously, he's been a passer, but defensively, Josh, he has taken a jump from last year.
Yeah.
You saw from the Warrior series to now.
I do think this is the first year where Kevin Durant's not the best player on his team. I
Yeah.
really do think that this is the first year in his whole career where he's not the best player on his team, and it's Alperen Sengun. If there's a player that I worry about the most that plays Victor Wembanyama, it's not Nikola Jokic. It's Alperen Sengun.
Sengun, he
I don't
just
know
knows how to
why.
get Wimby, bro.
Sengun just knows how to score on Victor Wembanyama. And I love Alperen Sengun as well. He just plays for the team I hate the most, and that's the Houston Rockets. So, yeah,
That's a real rivalry, Sengun and
yeah.
Wimby. That's
Sengun and Wimby's a real rivalry. Not this Chet and Wimby stuff. It's Sengun and Wimby. The Turkey versus France, bro. We've been there before.
it is true. But okay, as far as the rest of the Western Conference teams right here, obviously we're not going to break down all these other ones. But
Yeah.
as far as surprises in this one, I feel like it has to be talked about as far as two separate teams right here, in my opinion. You could name some other ones.
Okay.
The LA Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks, which the Mavericks have been playing a lot better as of recently. Now that there's a real point guard and Cooper Flag looks amazing. Looks
Yeah.
amazing. But the Clippers, they completely faltered and it
Yeah.
went from bad to worse. So you can start off with that.
And I forgot who has their first round draft pick this year.
The Thunder.
The Thunder. Yeah,
have
you're
the
right.
first round
You're right.
pick, yeah.
I knew the Thunder had a top pick. I just can't remember exactly who
Yeah.
it was.
And the
that makes
Jazz.
a lot of sense from the SGA trade with the Paul George still haunting them to this day.
Yep.
So but we look at the Los Angeles Clippers, dude. We've been saying it. Blow it up. Give it up.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to hold on to these aging. James Harden, not the problem. Like James Harden is not the problem.
He's the
Like,
only reason they have 6
if you
wins.
watch basketball, James Harden is absolutely balling. Like he
Hooping.
could. That's someone that I think contenders should go make a. If there's a Houston Rockets team that wants to make a move for someone else to handle the rock, he's not the same scorer he used to be. But you know what he still is? He still is a passer. Like he's still getting people the ball
And dropping 20.
and dropping 20. He's gonna give you 20 and 8. He's going to give you 20 and 8. I think the only reason they don't do it is going to hurt the development of Reed Shepard. So I understand why they don't do it. But there's other teams out there that could use a help from James Harden. Go get James Harden. As far as Kawhi Leonard, man. I think Kawhi Leonard's one of the biggest what ifs in NBA history. I really do think it. What if he wasn't such a jackass and stayed on the Spurs? So now look at his career. He's doing the same crap everywhere else. So yeah, so I feel like they need to blow it up. I think you can get some real movement for Ivica Zubac. Like he's their real asset that they can move around. He's the great defensively. He's actually one of the best players against Nikola Jokic in the NBA. And then also, he can score. Like, he's a really good scorer if you really give him the opportunities, especially in pick and roll. So, I feel like there's some guys that could really use his help. Go get some cap, blow it up. What are we hanging on to? Like, you just got this new stadium, new jerseys, new logo. You need to be able to I know you still want to look like you're competitive, but holding on for so long has done this. 6 wins on the season, and you have multiple aging guys on this roster. Move on. Like, it's time to blow it up. It's time to start new. It's time to just revamp the whole thing. Like, I'm happy the Clippers are losing because I don't know. We're in the Western Conference. I just hope teams continue to lose around us. But as far as the Clippers, they have all these guys, but nothing to show for it. And it's literally been like this for years. You blew up what was good that the Lob City built to try chasing new players. It just hasn't worked out. You traded the best player in the world, arguably, before he even got to the best player in the world because you wanted to make such a massive move for Kawhi Leonard to push immediately. When Paul George led to injuries, Kawhi Leonard still continues to be injured. James Harden is putting everything he has out there for what little bit he has.
Where did Josh go? Josh, I think his camera might have just died on him. I think that's exactly what happened. Yep, his camera just died. Josh, you there?
I'm going to leave real quick.
No, you're good. No, okay, I'll go ahead and go on to that point as far as with the Clippers right there. And yeah, I know, David. He mid rant. His camera was just tired of it. Maybe his camera was a Clippers fan. But no. Yeah, just as far as Kawhi Leonard, that's the thing about it. Yes, you could attempt to trade Kawhi Leonard. Not only is a contract so expensive, but what other team that could possibly be competitive would really want Kawhi Leonard on their team? Is a cost or does a benefit outweigh the downside of what Kawhi Leonard really does bring? Because Josh and I we were talking about it the other day. Maybe the Detroit Pistons, since they are the 1 seed, which we'll talk about in a second, maybe they go try and trade for Kawhi Leonard. But even at that, you're giving up so many assets: Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, and some first round picks. You blow up your entire young core for Kawhi Leonard, who yes might help you hypothetically in a playoff setting, but do we really know that he's going to help you in a playoff setting? Do we know that he could stay healthy for 4 rounds? And even at that, it's not going to be formidable against any other Western Conference team. And there's the Knicks. They have too much cap space. He's not going to go back to Toronto. And what other Western Conference team would really be willing to trade for Kawhi Leonard? The only other one that I could possibly think of, which even at that contractually, I don't think it makes sense, is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Because the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're kind of in that rough patch in between stage where they don't have many young players. Anthony Edwards and Rob Dillingham, they're only young players right there. But maybe a Julius Randle and something along those lines where you get upside offensively even more in a playoff setting. Anthony Edwards and Kawhi Leonard, and defensively you get even better. But I just really don't think anybody could honestly trade for Kawhi Leonard and they reap anything positive out of it. But as far as James Harden, just shout out to James Harden. He's the only reason why we're not so terrified of the Thunder potentially winning 73 plus games and having Cameron Boozer or AJ Dominstanya. But I'm going to go ahead and get onto the Mavs side. Whenever Josh gets here, he could talk about the Clippers more if he wants to. But as far as with the Dallas Mavericks, it started off so bad as far as how the Mavericks started and how Anthony Davis looked, and he wasn't healthy at all. And then Kyrie Irving, he's not going to be back to the All-Star break and what they said. But now that they finally got a real point guard, leave it up to be an undrafted free agent in Ryan Nimhard. But Cooper Flag is officially unlocked, and he dropped 42 points. I think he was officially the youngest player to ever drop 40 points behind, or I think ahead of LeBron, surpassing LeBron. But now that he actually has a real point guard next to him, Cooper Flag has been hooping. Anthony Davis looks pretty damn nice. And I feel like with the Mavericks, it's going to be a situation where I think they're comparable to like the Timberwolves, the Suns, the Warriors, the Grizzlies, and they're definitely better than the Jazz, or honestly better than half of those teams right there. But they're so behind in the standings that I think they're going to have to be facing for a playoff spot right now. Like, compared to the Timberwolves and the Mavericks as of right now, there's a 7-game difference. I know it's still early in the season, but unless Minnesota and all these other teams start crumbling very badly, then the Mavericks, they'll maybe be a 6 seed. But I think they're going to end up being a 9 or a 10 seed. And maybe, again, even at that, they'd play the Thunder. But at first, it started off really bad for the Mavericks. Really, really bad. But there's been some upside from seeing what Cooper Flag does. And again, I think I think Josh, you could agree to this too. I didn't see that he had this much scoring pop this early. I thought it was going to take him a couple years to really develop. I thought it was going to be something like a Jason Tatum, where it's not till year 5 or 6 he becomes a number 1 scorer on a championship team. But he's showing that upside as of right now. So I think that's very good right there. But Derek Lively, him being out for the rest of the year, that's unfortunate right there. So we're not going to be able to see that. Okay, so Josh is going to be joining back in a second. But yeah, as far as that and some other teams I'll kind of just touch up on since Josh still isn't here. The New Orleans Pelicans, although they have the worst record in the entire behind the Washington Wizards. Yes, behind the Washington Wizards. Although they have one of the best or worst records overall in the NBA. Derek Queen, Jeremiah Fears, Herb Jones, and Trey Murphy. Those core 4 guys are one of the best young cores in the NBA. For sure, top 10 young core. I don't know exactly as far as ranking them, but they are missing their main guy. And I don't know what happened in Zion Williamson. There was a bunch of hopes as far as him going into the beginning of the season and him losing all that weight. I think they said something along the lines of 30 pounds, something like that. But they're just missing their core guy. And I didn't even mention Jeremiah Fierce. So they have a bunch of young guys, and Derek Queen, as crazy as it sounds, I'm not saying that it's going to end up being a good trade, them giving up an unprotected pick to Atlanta, potentially a top 5 pick. But Derek Queen, he's a baller. Derek Queen, he has some all NBA potential. And I feel like I had to mention that. Hold on, wait. Give me 1 second here. I guess I'm going to have to edit this out right here. I think Damien is still in here. No, but yeah, as far as with that, and another team that's been intriguing me so far throughout the entire year, I'll say the Portland Trailblazers. As although it might not be as fun to talk about the Portland Trailblazers after the crazy situation with Chauncey Billups and the interim head coach had to step in, they've been playing some decent hoops. They have Denny Avdia, which I don't think nobody's really been talking about because he's averaging dang near 25, 8 and 6 up to this point. He's actually a really good basketball player, in all honesty. And Donovan Clingan, as far as whenever he's on the court, they have a 5 or +5 net rating on the defensive end. So he's already paying dividends. And then Scoot Henderson, who knows what would happen with him? Tamani Kamara. They have a nice young core. And this is just the Western Conference right here. Everybody has solid young cores, but it's just you have the likes of the Thunder, Nuggets, Lakers, Spurs, Rockets, and Timberwolves. And I think we have to talk about this team right here, the Golden State Warriors. I guess I guess Josh is still having difficulties right here. But as far as the Warriors, they're so up and down. I don't know what to even think about the Warriors. At first, they did start really good. It looked like we were seeing what we saw as far as the late stretch where they went on that run and they end up becoming one of the top 6 playoff seeds. But also Stephen Curry, him being hurt, I think for about a combined 3 weeks up to this point, that hasn't been good. But this team is so Steph Curry dependent. And Jonathan Kuminga, he has shown spurts of growth this year. He has shown them, like very slightly, but it just isn't it. It's not going to be enough to even compete with the Lakers. And we view the Lakers as on a whole different stratosphere compared to the other 4 teams we talk about in the Western Conference. I guess Josh is texting on Riverside now. That's weird. I don't know why Josh isn't able to join. No, but yeah. As far as with the Golden State Warriors, yeah. I feel like even if they do make any trades, I know there was talks about the Anthony Davis sweepstakes, which I don't even think it's going to happen no more with how well the Mavericks have been playing as of late. I think they're just in a tough situation where they just kind of have to let this one play out at this point. They really have to let this play out. But okay, whenever Josh does join, I'm going to go ahead and talk about just the Eastern Conference just a little bit, and then whenever Josh does join, we'll just pick up wherever we left off. But I want to talk about the Detroit Pistons right here. The Detroit Pistons, they're number 1 in the Eastern Conference right here. And Cade Cunningham, he is going to be an all-NBA player. He's going to be an all-NBA player up to this point. And he has his team, which I think everybody didn't expect the Detroit Pistons. Not even a big Pistons fan could have said this. They'd make this much of a jump this year. And they got up to, I believe, a 14-game win streak up to this point. But usually whenever you're a 4 or 5 seed, something along the lines, and especially you're a young team, either A, you stay in that exact same situation around that range, or you drop down to like a play-in team. We've seen that with the Magic before. We've seen that with other teams before where there's kind of a drop-off. But you're seeing everybody on the Detroit Pistons play so damn well. And I think what makes them so reliable is that they're not a jump shot reliant team. Everybody on the Detroit Pistons, they get to the rack. Cade Cunningham, I already talked about him. Jalen Duren, he gets to the rack. Ron Holland, he's kind of shown some flashes. Jaden Ivey, who knows if he's a part of this core, but as of right now, he is a very good player for them. And then Asar Thompson, even though offensively it doesn't look as good, defensively, one of the best guys in the league. But yeah, I just think that the Detroit Pistons, what they're doing as of right now, nobody really expected this. No, nobody expected this. And I think, honestly, I think they're real contenders in the Eastern Conference. There's nobody else. I know there's a New York Knicks, but we saw what a young, inexperienced Detroit Pistons team did to the Knicks last year, and they went to the Eastern Conference playoffs. Albeit the Pacers beat them, but we don't have to worry about the Pacers this year because Halliburton's not there, and that team's just imploding up to this point. But as far as the New York Knicks right here, who just did win the NBA Cup against the Spurs, they're a really good team, and I really do like what Mike Brown has been doing offensively. He makes it a lot easier. It's not like we were talking about with the Lakers. The Lakers and the Knicks last year, they were kind of on the same level up to the point as far as ISO ball, and it was really either Luka Doncic or LeBron dependent. It was very Jalen Brunson dependent. And although they do, as far as their bread and butter, do go back to ISO ball 80% of the time, they actually have the depth or actually have actions and sets where they get other people involved. Like OG Anunoby, he's always been capable of this, but we're seeing this more throughout the year. And we saw it yesterday against the Spurs where he was making big time shots and there were real actions, real plays compared to Tom Thibodeau. And defensively, there has been a little bit, I wouldn't say regression, but a slight step down. But with all the perimeter guys they have, they're more than formidable of being a top 10 defense whenever it does matter. Mikal Bridges, he's a consistent 16 to 17 points a game. And Karl Anthony Towns, as far as we already know how Karl Anthony Towns is. So Josh had to restart his computer. So I believe he should be back soon. I know I've been saying that the past 10, 15 minutes, but he should be back soon. But as far as, like I was saying with the New York Knicks right here, I just think that they're also contenders once again in the Eastern Conference, but it's just the Eastern Conference is so depleted as of right now. We already know as far as with the Giannis injury, how that's ruined the Bucks' chances completely. And even at that, their team really wasn't that good. The Pacers, nobody's worried about the Pacers. But the New York Knicks, they have a damn good opportunity this year, and they have the most star power out of anybody in the Eastern Conference this year. They do, without a doubt. And they have to capitalize on this. But I know I talked about it right here a little bit before, but I want to really talk about it now. The Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics, I wouldn't say they were as bad as the Mavs were at the beginning of the year, but the Boston Celtics at the beginning of the year, it was looking very rough, and it looked like this team was imploding and going towards a top pick. But they completely changed things around, and now they're the 4 seed in the Eastern Conference, in which the news happened. I think it broke as far as like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Jason Tatum plans on returning this year, which is insane. I don't know how healthy that is or how great his recovery's going. I think he should just bail on the season. It doesn't matter how good. It doesn't matter how good that this Celtics team can potentially be. And I think Jaylen Brown, what he's been showing this year as a number one option, he's more than formidable enough to carry a team to playoffs. And we could see what he does. Like up to this point, he's shooting 50% from the field and damn near averaging 30 and five assists. 30, 36 and 5 up to this point. So Jaylen Brown as a number one option, which I think everybody knew he could do. We just had to see it. At the beginning of the year, I think that's why the Celtics were struggling, because Jaylen Brown was used to being that number 2 option. But now that he is the guy and ultra aggressive there, I think now he's flourishing in this role. So again, if Jason Tatum does come back, First, I want to say I don't know how good he's going to be year one off of Achilles tear. The only guy we've seen in the NBA be great year one off of Achilles tear is Kevin Durant, which Jason Tatum, he's up to that level. But again, that's Kevin Durant. So, and as far as just his team, it's still, although they don't have the names, all of these guys are still good. Like Sam Howell's a reliable 3-point shooter. Obviously, obviously you have Derek White, you have Peyton Pritchard. Even Chris Boucher, he's surprisingly been good this year. And another guy is Jordan Walsh. These younger guys are stepping up. Anthony Simmons, he's kind of been a little bit of a disappointment this year. But let's see. Wow, I guess Josh won't be able to join this one right here. So I guess I'm gonna have to wrap this one up by myself. But yeah, as far as the Celtics, I think that the Boston Celtics, I think that they could be, I wouldn't say necessarily contenders in the Eastern Conference. I won't go that far just because Jalen Brown, he's not up to the levels of a Jalen Brunson or a Cade Cunningham. Maybe he can be. He's putting up the stats as far as up to this point, but I don't think Jalen Brunson and Cade Cunningham, they're top 10. They could arguably be top 10 players in the NBA. I think Jalen Brown at max can be a top 20 player, maybe around the 18 range, maybe 15. Maybe you could argue your way up to 15, but I really don't think so. But as far as another team in the Eastern Conference, I want to talk about is the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic, it's so unfortunate about the Magic because they show so many signs of potential. And obviously, a big move for them, which probably nobody talked about, the Desmond Bain trade. So, them trading KCP, and I believe it was 5 first-round picks, so they could have more of an offensive scoring, which Jamal Mosley has definitely had this offense become better. And their defense, we already know how great their defense is. But nobody can stay healthy for the Magic. Nobody. Whenever Paulo's on the court, Franz isn't. And whenever Franz is on the court, Paulo isn't. So it's just I think it's probably not gonna be till like after All-Star break, we're gonna really see how good this Orlando Magic team is. And as of right now, they're fifth, albeit in the Eastern Conference, but they're that good. And even Jalen Suggs, I think Jalen Suggs, he's one of the guys where his stats don't actually match how good of an NBA player he is. Whenever Jalen Suggs plays and is on the court for the Magic, they find a way to win ball games. And even though I think he averages like 14, 4, and 4, something along those lines right there, he contributes to winning, and he's a real piece on that team. So I think, again, whenever Franz and Paul, they finally have their chemistry with Desmond Bain on the court, it's not going to be till after All-Star break. So that's an intriguing team that kind of I'm just looking out for. And as far as another team right here, the Cleveland Cavaliers, which the Cleveland Cavaliers, we thought, Josh and I included, I know I can speak for Josh right here, we thought that this team was going to be the team that rose up in the Eastern Conference because everybody else was hurt. And now that we didn't have to worry about the Pacers. But they have been one of the more underwhelming teams of the year. But I think the biggest reason for that is Evan Mobley, which at the beginning of the year, was showing that next jump, that next level of potentially being a top 15 guy. Because I consider him in the top 20 range, but maybe taking that jump to being a top 15 guy. And at first, it started off great. It started off amazing. But it's just been underwhelming ever since. And just as Cavs team, I don't know exactly what's wrong with them. I didn't get to catch the game tonight versus the Bulls, which the Bulls did win, by the way. And it's just also with the Cavs last year, at the start of the year or until the All-Star break, they were shooting crazy efficient from 3 or just from the field entirely. So maybe the Cavs last year, they've always been a good team. But maybe them being a great team, maybe we just overhype them to a certain extent. I don't think that's the case. I think eventually they'll be able to figure this out because they get the benefit of the doubt of being in the Eastern Conference where they could struggle mightily through damn near half of the season and they could still end up being out of the play-in because as of right now, they're 15 and 13, and the Sixers are 14 and 11 up to this point. So they they're only let me check. They're only half a game back. And even at that, they're only 7 total games back from the Pistons. So maybe they could even work their way up to the 3 seed up to this point. But that's just something where it's underwhelming as of right now and very, very disappointing. But I expect them to get it together. There's so much talent on this team from Darius Garland, who's kind of been in and out of the lineup, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, DeAndre Hunter. They have real guys on their team. But the last team that I want to talk about in the Eastern Conference is the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks, obviously, we know they had Giannis. And this was another team that we thought maybe they'd rise to the top because they have one of these best players in the league, which some people argue as the best player in the league. They had Giannis, and they signed Miles Turner. And there was some throughout the middle of the year, whenever Giannis was playing, Kevin Porter Jr. started playing a lot better. Ryan Rollins is actually a real NBA player up to this point. But it's just this team is so bad now. This team is genuinely bad. Kyle Kuzma, that trade looks worse by the day. Miles Turner, without Giannis there, he really can't thrive as what they signed him for the contract. So this team is just, they're bound to implode at this point. In all honesty, what I would do is I would trade Giannis. Giannis, there's already been a bunch of rumors come out that he's very unhappy in the Milwaukee situation. So I think he's already won you a championship and you've already seen plenty of success with Giannis. You trade him to wherever he wants to, and you could get plenty of assets too. As far as to exactly where, I'm not sure. I'm not sure where he could possibly go because you're going to need so much in return for Giannis as far as players and picks. And then as far as contractually, how is that going to match up with everybody? But yeah, that's a big piece that needs to be traded away because even whenever Giannis does step on the court, and even if you do make some trades, maybe a Trey Murphy, maybe a Larry Markkinen, it still won't be enough to get out of the Eastern Conference, let alone if you get to the finals, somehow you get to the finals, a 1 or 2% chance because Giannis goes insane, you're not going to beat a Western Conference team, then put yourself more into salary cap debt. So the Bucks, they're in the corner. They're in the corner now where they try to push all the chips in for Damian Lillard and it failed. But you took that risk. It's part of it. But you did get a championship out of Giannis, the Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday core. So you have to take your L where it is, trade away Giannis, as much as it pains you to see the greatest player in your franchise history. I know Kareem was there, but as far as just individually in a single or in the Milwaukee Bucks history, it is Giannis. They have to trade him away for sure. But okay, as far as all of those right there, Josh and I, we were supposed to do it right here. But as far as early season awards up to this point, I'll go through them very quickly, which we already talked about it. As far as the Oklahoma City Thunder being one of the best teams, I'd have to follow suit with Mark Daigneault being head coach of the year and Shea obviously winning another MVP. Defensive player of the year. As much as Josh doesn't want to hear it, Wemby might not hit the criteria as far as for games. Yes, I know Riverside is tripping, Josh, and I saw your messages. I know you probably want me to go on this Wemby rant as of right now. Best defensive player, has more blocks, more steals than anybody, but Wemby still might not hit that criteria. He still might not hit that criteria. I don't know how many games he's missed exactly, but it was somewhere along the 2 weeks lines. So he has to dang near play almost the rest of the games the entire season to meet that defensive player and all NBA criteria. So Wemby would win it by far if there was no such thing as a criteria, 65 games, but Chet would be a very far second. As far as rookie of the year, it went through different phases throughout the entire year. At first, it was VJ Edgecombe, and then it was Con Knuppel, and then Derek Queen, which Derek Queen still is playing some great ball. But now Cooper Flag has officially taken the throne as far as NBA Rookie of the Year up to this point. And like I said, he just dropped 42 actually. He just dropped 42 2 days ago. So it's only going to get better from here because rookies usually get a lot better down the stretch, and especially in that March and April stretch. That's when we really start seeing how good these rookies are. And you're already seeing this from Cooper Flag. But as far as most improved player of the year, this is where it gets really tricky here. There, there are three main guys where it fits three separate criterias for how most improved player of the year, which is the most confusing award to judge. And it's Danny Avdia, Jalen Johnson, and Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves, his simple case is he took a jump from 22 points per game last year. Now he's damn near averaging 30. And yes, he was already a perennial all-star along those lines, but Austin Reeves, an 8-point jump and becoming a number two option. And at times, whenever we've seen Luka out and LeBron out during that early stretch, he's had 40-point games, 50-point games, I believe, as well. So his criteria for most improved player would be he's he's a guy that went from a good player last year to now a potentially star. We could see as far as a top 25 player, as crazy as it sounds, he's potentially that good. As far as Jalen Johnson, he went, I would say he's a tier below Austin Reeves as far as Jalen Johnson. His biggest thing was injuries. That's the biggest thing. And still up to this day, it's injuries. He went from being a player that was solid whenever he did play great, but now he's actually playing games this year. He's damn near averaging a triple double right now, which is insane. He's averaging a triple double, but he just doesn't stay on the court. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he's been in the most improved player running for the past 3 years up to this point, if I'm not mistaken. So that's his case as far as he's been in the running for most improved player of the year the past few years, and he's only been getting better. And now he's potentially an all NBA guy. Same with Austin Reeves. So that's his case. But as far as Danny Avdia from last year, if you told me last year and you said, hey, next year on December 18th, Danny Avdia, he's going to be averaging 25, 8, and 8. I would have said, you are absolutely insane and you're smoking something. But you saw that stretch of Danny Avdia from March to the end of the season, and now he struggled at the beginning of the year. But after a 2-week stretch of being a rough spot, he's going back to what he was doing. And honestly, he's one of the best young players in the NBA. And so that's his criteria right there, where it's like, okay, he did it late in the year, and now he's going to do it for a full sample size. But if I had to pick one, I would go with Danny Avdia because I feel like from what my criteria is, he fits my mold as far as most improved player. Jalen Johnson, he's already been improving. Austin Reeves, he already has been improving. Danny Avdia, he went from last year at the beginning of the year to we don't know if he was going to be on the team to now he's one of the guys you need to build around. So Danny Avdia, he would be my most improved player of the year. As far as sixth man of the year, there's different guys. I know Josh has said three separate guys, but I think it's Dylan Harper, one of them from the Spurs, Anthony Black, and Jaime Jaquez. And obviously Naz Reid, of course. But I'm going to have to go with Anthony Black up to this point. Anthony Black, off the bench, has been one of the best offensive players. Him and Jalen Suggs, that duo right there, it is amazing. And Anthony Black, his biggest thing was, can he develop an offensive bag? And he has done that up to this point. And I think although those other guys, they are good names and have been good sparks off the bench, I think Anthony Black, not only from last year to this year, he made that major jump, but he is the main reason why the Magic offense is actually formidable. It's actually a top half offense this year. So I'd have to go with Anthony Black. As far as clutch player of the year, I really don't think there's no conversation on this. It has to be Cade Cunningham being clutch player of the year. I know there's Shea. I know there's Tyrese Maxey, which he's been going ballistic this year and made a jump. There's Anthony Edwards. Steph Curry is always in the running. But it has to be Cade Cunningham this year because if I'm not mistaken, he's been in the most clutch games this year, which again, 5 points with 5 minutes left in the ball game. So Cade Cunningham, he's been absolutely amazing. You could argue him or Shea, but since Shea, he's already winning MVP, I feel like Cade, he has to get an award for how crazy he is doing this year. So, yeah, those are my awards this year. And it sucks. Josh, he didn't get to finish this episode. I think Josh, he got to like 50 minutes in, which I know we're going to get something figured out as far as doing an NBA pod where both of us are actually on. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you guys soon. We will for sure have an episode out on Monday as far as NFL Week 16 reactions, where I will win the pick'ems, of course, and be one more step closer to that jersey. But before we get out of here, find us on Twitch, Discord, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube under TSCSA or the so-called sports analyst. Whether you listen to this live or another day, we appreciate it. Make sure you share this to anybody that likes sports. We'll see you guys soon. You guys take care.